So let's get started with the part 4 of the Goku step-by-step tutorial. In this part we are going to do a Vegita G with the darker shade of blue. So we are starting with the lightest shade and we are going to apply it on the left hand side of the G. Just apply it with a light pressure. Just easy light pressure and go over the areas, still leaving a little bit of the white of the paper. We are doing the same process here. That is very important. Just in the previous parts, when we were leaving that white and go over later and blend it all out, or add a mid-tone or the darker tone. Yes, just like this. Apply it and leave a little bit of the white of the paper. We are now drawing on the left hand side of the G. Still applying it with light pressure and going over and over to achieve the unified blue look. Yes. And I cannot tell you enough that is very important in the color pencils to leave the white of the paper where you need to get the highlights. That is very, very, very important. You can go over with the Unipoha markers on anything to get back that white, but it is not going to be the white of the paper. It is going to be a little bit different result that you are going to achieve with the color pencils if you leave that white of the paper. Just trust me on this. Just follow the tutorial, leave the whites of the paper where I leave it, and you will be just fine. We're going on the middle section. And now we're going to the right section. Yes. Now we are going in with a darker shade. This is a mid-tone, the mid-tone of the blue. Yes. Just go over the areas that we left it previously, a little bit of the white of the paper, and just go in with this shade. And now are we getting a little bit more of the 3D look. Just apply a little bit more pressure in the previous shade. Yes. And go all over the areas that we have left white. And of course we have the third shade, that is the darkest tone that we get for this G. Yes, we're going to draw now in the middle section, in the right hand section of the G. Just be patient when you are drawing near the edges of the paper, because you're going to hit the table beneath you, but that's just fine. It's okay. apply it with the same pressure, clean everything up with a makeup brush or any other brush that you are using, and just go over the areas again and again and fill everything up. This right hand side is going to be the darkest because the light is, for this particular Vegito drawing, is coming from the left side, the light source. So we are getting the darkest darks on the right side of the drawing. See now? We're applying this mid-tone and leaving the whites of the paper to go in with the darkest shade that we have. So right now, what are we going to do is to take the third pencil, the darkest shade that we have, and go over the areas that we just did and applying it a little bit to get that darkest dark in all the parts that we need to get the darkest dark. Just blend it all out. Yes. Repeat the same process on all the parts that you are seeing in the tutorial. And I put it a little bit on the skin to get the darkest dark. Now we are going to do it the same thing on the right hand side of the G, applying it with a little bit of the pressure and blend it all out. This is not the final blend, but we're trying to get a smooth transitions between the mid-tone and the dark tone. That is also very important to get the unified look. We're now applying it on the right hand side of the G. Yes, and this is starting to look more and more and more 3D. And that is what we are trying to do, to get to look at more realistic. Yes, fill all the whites of the paper and blend it all out with the previous layer of the color. Yes, that is brilliant. And we can now go with this darkest dark that we have. This is black, a little bit on the color. I see some parts that we can fix and add a little bit more darker dark, and that is exactly what we just did here. And this is give a little bit more of the punch. Yes, you see? That black just gave it a little bit more of the punch. Yes, that is amazing. We also applied it on the ears and on the right hand side of the nose, a little bit on the poteras, on the right hand side where the darkest darks are. We are going over the areas to get a little bit more of the 3D look. Yes, and we are going also to do this on the left hand side of the of the Goku kimono, a little bit more to add on the right side of the skin where the darkest areas are. Just a little bit more. Yes, you see now? It gives a little bit more of the punch, a little bit more. And that is what we are trying to achieve. And also go a little bit more with the darkest shade of the skin on the right hand side of the face. Now we're going to go over the Vegito G and blend it all out with the first shade, the lightest shade of blue that we have. Now we're repeating the same process that we did in all other parts before this. In the skin shading, the hair shading, we are now doing the same for the Vegita G to get a more unified look. Going all over the G to blend it all out. Now we're blending it to the mid part. Now we're going to do the same thing on the right hand side. Amazing. Just blend it all out. We would not be able to achieve this blending if we would just go pressing way too much with the previous layers. So now we're getting a more unified look and blending all out. Yes. Keep up the amazing job. Just keep up with the blending. And this is starting to look great. Just like that, and we have finished the Vegita G. Clean everything up with a makeup brush. And we are getting the final result for the Vegeta. We have finished the Vegito